Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on fixing up our basement floor. This house was built in the 60s and this concrete floor has seen better days. It's really stained, looks pretty bad. So we're going to do a skimmed coat over top of this and then seal it. And this is going to look like a brand new concrete floor. And if it's done right, this can last a long time and look really nice. And this is also a very economical way to fix up an old floor like this without having to rent any large tools or sanders, polishers. This is a good way to make this look nice without having to do all that work. Now to start off, I'm gonna put plastic over everything that I don't want getting soaked. So interior sheetrock walls, the shelves, everything, gonna put plastic up to keep water off of it. And then I'm gonna pressure wash this floor and shop vac the water so that it doesn't spread throughout the basement. I'm gonna try to keep everything as dry as possible, but that pressure washer will take off most of the stain, most of the dirt that's on the floor. That way the concrete skim coat that we're putting down over top has the best opportunity to bond with the concrete floor, and that will give us the best results from this. While I'm pressure washing this and cleaning the floor, I'm keeping an eye out for any paint drips, concrete chunks, or spackle drips on the floor. I'm going to make sure I scrape those off really well and have a nice smooth surface so that applying the skim coat will be as easy as possible. My girls wanted to come down and help out with this project. They're really excited about having the basement finished because we told them part of this is going to be their new playroom. They can come down and have a space just to themselves and have fun down here. So they're going to be helping me vacuum, which is a huge help. So I don't have to keep pausing, pressure washing to vacuum up all the water I'm causing. This way I can just focus on cleaning. And they really did such a good job and worked so hard at it. Now I'm finished cleaning the floor. I'm going to move on to applying the skim coat over top, and there's a lot of different options, but right here on the screen is what I'm using today, and this is made by Stone Edge. It's their micro top skim coat, and a few things you're going to need for this is a sprayer to wet the floor, a towel in case it's too wet to dry it off. You want to get it just right. We've got a few measuring cups to mix the concrete mixture. It dries pretty quickly, so we're going to test it out and get the right consistency. Then we'll put a mark on those measuring cups for how much water and how much mix so that we have it consistent all the way across the floor. Then we'll be able to make consistent small batches. We can apply them one at a time to the floor and work our way across. Now you'll also want to have a variety of cement trowels for mixing as well as spreading this on the floor. You could either use a flat trowel like we're using right here to smooth it out, or what we found to work a little bit better and go really fast is using a rubber squeegee and sort of smoothing it out across the floor, making sure you get a nice even cover over everything. And I'll show you guys how that goes in just a minute. Now we're ready to start applying the skim coat, and I'm going to go back through here and just wet the concrete so that this doesn't dry out too fast. Then we'll just start in one of the corners, pour out the mixture, and start spreading it with the trowel. This does take a little bit of getting used to, but after the first or second batch of laying that down, I got a good system going and it was pretty easy to spread this out. So if you have a spot that you can test it in, that would be ideal. If not, this is fairly easy to come back with another coat of skim coat over top and just fix any mistakes that you have. So don't be afraid to add another coat over top or add more skim coat to a section. You can easily do that. Now we're moving on to the second batch, and I'm gonna wet down the space really quick, and this time I'm testing out the rubber squeegee. I really like how that's working. It goes a lot faster and it's easy to get it smooth. So at this point I'm committing to the squeegee. That way I have the same texture all the way across the floor and everything looks consistent. So the trick with the squeegee is to not push much pressure down on the floor. If you push too hard, you'll end up just drying the floor off and scraping all of the skim coat away. That's not what you want to do. You want to just glide over the floor, just very light pressure, so you're only pulling away the excess skim coat and spreading it across the floor towards you, and that way it's a nice even coat and completely covers the floor. Also with the squeegee, I'm trying not to do any straight lines. I'm doing sweeping, rounded motions so that I have a nice texture to the floor. I don't have any straight lines that draw your eye. This is all going to be sort of swirled, textured together. But that really is just based on your taste. So if you want to do straight lines, go for that. Whatever you do, you want to stay consistent all the way across the floor. So pick something and stick with it and just see how it goes. Another thing that's really helpful is if you have some help with this, one person can focus on mixing and have each batch ready to go by the time you finish the last one. And the other one can focus on just the spreading technique. That way you don't have to keep pausing and moving from one thing to the other. You can just focus on the job and go really quickly through this. Now we're working our way backwards out the door, so we finish everything off without having to walk across this floor. We'll let this sit for a couple hours and then we can walk across this. Probably not with shoes, you don't want to scrape anything off, just be gentle with it. It hasn't fully dried at this point. So next we're going to come through here. Anything that is thin, you want to check the floor, make sure you get good coverage over everything. If you need to apply another batch over anything, go ahead, do that now before moving on to sealing. I'm going to take a cement trowel and go across the floor and just check, make sure that there aren't any drips or any bubbles in this. If there's anything that's raised, any clumps that are left behind, I'm just going to scrape off with a cement trowel. And at this point, that's really easy because it's still fairly soft and you can easily smooth it out. After a quick vacuum, I'm going to be moving on to sealing the floor, and this is the stuff we're going to be using today. Applies really easily, dries quick, and is very durable, so good stuff right there. I'm going to apply this with a paint roller across the bulk of the floor, and then use a paintbrush to cut in around the edges to make sure it goes all the way to the walls. At this point, I've let the skim coat dry for quite a few hours, but it's still fairly soft. It's ready to go for the sealer, but you'll just want to be careful not to scrape this or drop anything on the floor for a while till that fully hardens. Now this is where it starts looking really nice. I like how this looks. It's going to darken the color a bit more, so it's not going to be so light. And this first coat will really soak into that skim coat and the concrete. I'll be adding on a few more layers of sealer over top because my goal is to make this so it doesn't absorb anything. Any water or dirt gets down here, I don't want it soaking into that brand new skim coat and staining. So this will be the first coat, and I'll probably do 2 more coats after this to make sure it's fully sealed. Now I've got the first coat finished, and it's been several hours since that's been done, so it's dry enough to walk on, and I can definitely see that I'm going to need to add a few more coats of sealer over top because it definitely soaked into some areas more than others. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the second and third coat, and then I'll be able to start seeing a little bit of a shine over top of that concrete. Not a ton, this isn't a gloss finish, but I want to make sure that this is completely sealed. Alright, this was what it looks like with 3 coats of sealer over top, and I'm really happy with that. I'm going to start moving some things in. This has had a chance to fully dry, and now we can start using the space a bit more. Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button down below. Here's a quick before video of what the floor looked like before. Nasty, stained. And here's the brand new basement floor with a skim coat over top, and this is so much nicer. Keeps it clean down here, easy to vacuum or mop if we need to. The kids love their new playroom, and this gives us a lot more space in our house. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and let me know what you think of this video down in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching guys. I'll see you in the next one. If you haven't had a chance yet to check out the whole series of videos on this basement renovation, I've got a bunch more videos that I think you'll like. You can check those out right here on the screen.